The medical truth about cannabis nobody says out loud. I'm a doctor, I'm a board certified family medicine physician, and I've been recognized by the California State Senate 2 years in a row as a medicinal cannabis expert. And I'm going to say the things about cannabis that most physicians are too uncomfortable to put on camera. As a physician reviewing the peer-reviewed research, I see a massive gap between what the public believes about this plant-based compound and medicine and what the science actually shows. My patients ask me about cannabis more than almost anything else, and they deserve an honest answer, not hype, not fear, just the medical truth. So let's talk about it. The problem. Well, you know how it is. Everyone is talking about cannabis. Everyone's recommending this product and this XYZ online. Every person's an authority when it comes to being online. As I did mention, I'm a board certified physician, and I try to approach medicine and cannabis from both a clinical and evidence-based approach. I appreciate the peer-reviewed journals, but there are two extremes that I've seen. One side says it's the cure-all, end-all. Don't take meds. Throw everything out the door. Just do cannabis. The others say it's horrible, addictive, zero benefit, never try it. Look, both sides are entitled to their opinion, but are we mixing subjective emotion with objective facts? Look, the clinical evidence shows something way more nuanced than what we think. There are conditions where the research is strong, and there are conditions where it's overhyped or just not there yet. As your physician, my job isn't to tell you what you want to hear. It's to tell you what the research actually shows. So what is cannabis scientifically? So let's just start with what it is. It's a plant, and there's different compounds found in cannabis, many compounds, hundreds if not. And those are called phytocannabinoids. The top two most common you may have heard of are THC, which is considered psychoactive, and CBD, which is non-psychoactive. There's so many other ones being studied, such as CBG and CBN, but that's just a few. We've barely scratched the surface of what this plant can offer us. Now, these compounds interact with something called the endocannabinoid system in your body. This system is like the manager in your body. It keeps your body and everything in it in homeostasis, or what we call in proper balance. It's responsible for many different functions in the body, such as pain, sleep, hunger, mood, your temperature, you name it. So many different things. This isn't something that was newly discovered. The physiology of the endocannabinoid system has been around and studied since the 90s. Now look, before we go any further, I have to make this clear. Yes, I am a physician, I am an advocate for cannabis, but these videos are strictly educational. You should always talk to your physician or your healthcare provider before considering any use of cannabis in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into it. Where is the clinical evidence actually strong? Situation one, or problem one, chronic pain. Anybody who's listening ever struggled or suffers from chronic pain? The research is pretty clear here. Multiple systematic reviews, including meta-analyses published in different articles such as JAMA and The Lancet, show that phytocannabinoids can reduce chronic pain, especially neuropathic, or what they call nerve pain. This doesn't mean it's going to work for everyone, but the evidence is there. Some patients experience meaningful pain relief where traditional options may have not worked. Condition two, multiple sclerosis spasticity. This is also a pretty well studied use. Clinical trials show that certain phytocannabinoid formulations reduce muscle spasticity in MS, or multiple sclerosis. In fact, there are FDA-approved prescription cannabinoid medications specifically for this. So the research here isn't really debatable. It works for a subset of patients, like they found with patients that have multiple sclerosis. Condition three, chemotherapy-induced nausea. Again, pretty strong evidence. The medical literature shows phytocannabinoids can reduce nausea and vomiting in cancer patients who are undergoing chemotherapy. There's been some FDA-approved synthetic cannabinoids for this since the 80s. Now, the other condition is epilepsy. This one has made headlines in the past. Clinical trials have led the FDA to approve of a CBD-based medication for certain rare forms of epilepsy. Name of the medication, Epidiolex. This is sometimes used to treat those rare forms such as Dravet syndrome and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Research here is pretty rigorous. It's double-blind, placebo-controlled. These trials were published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It showed that some children who had dozens of seizures per day saw reductions of up to 40 to 50%. That's not anecdotal. That's peer-reviewed clinical evidence. But now let's get into the overhyped or insufficient evidence. This is where it may not be as strong, and this is where a lot of misinformation lives, especially online. So a really common issue is anxiety. Some of you may suffer from anxiety. You may have said, or you may know friends or family that say, hey, CBD, THC has helped me with my anxiety. I need it to be relaxed. You may be right, but the actual clinical evidence is mixed. Some small studies suggest potential benefits. Other studies show no effect or even increased anxiety depending on the dosage, what type, and the individual themselves. What the research actually tells us is we don't have enough high quality data on this yet. I'm not saying it may not happen in the future, but at this moment, we can't say it with certainty. It's not a proven treatment at this moment. Another thing people suffer with, insomnia, right? I struggle with sleep. Same story. It's anecdotal, sure. Is there any rigorous trials? Not yet. Some evidence suggests the active compounds might help with sleep onset, but there's also a possibility that long-term use may actually disrupt sleep architecture in certain individuals. Another very common condition is depression. The research here is even weaker. Some preliminary studies suggest potential benefits, but we're nowhere near clinical grade evidence yet. Hopefully, as cannabis tends to become more legalized, we'll be able to do more research. So if you're struggling with depression, please talk to your healthcare provider about evidence-based treatments first. Don't rely on just botanical compounds itself that may not have the sufficient data to prove and help you with depression. Another hot topic or area, cancer. This is usually where the most dangerous myths sometimes come from. Some studies suggest that phytocannabinoids might have anti-tumor properties in certain lab settings or animal models. But we don't have a lot of clinical trials truly showing that cannabis can treat or fully cure cancer in humans. You may have heard some people say, hey, I took cannabis, it cured me of my cancer. They might be mistaken, or they may not understand how clinical research works, so please take that with a grain of salt. The nuance is, this is what I tell my patients. Cannabis has so much medicinal value, it's not a miracle plant. But it's also not the devil. It's a botanical plant with real pharmacological effects, some that are well studied, like we said, some that are not. The evidence, like we said, is pretty strong for certain things like chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, chemo-induced nausea, and certain forms of epilepsy. When it comes to certain other conditions, anxiety, insomnia, depression, the evidence is weak and mixed at this time. The idea that it cures cancer, that's not really medicine at this moment. That could be dangerous misinformation. So please be very careful what you're hearing and who you're listening to. But the conversation, it's worth having with your physician. You may want to ask them, based on your medical history, your symptoms, and the current evidence, does it make sense to incorporate and use cannabis as part of your treatment plan? That's the honest conversation, not the one-size-fits-all answer that you may have seen online that says, throw this out the window, throw out your meds, don't see the doctor. But do your homework. Let's look at the other side. Why don't physicians talk about cannabis, especially this openly like I do? Few reasons, of course. One, our medical training doesn't really cover cannabis or the endocannabinoid system that well yet. Most physicians graduated before cannabis research became mainstream. so they weren't really caught up with how the science worked. Number two, the stigma. Look, even in states where it's legal, like California where I'm at, there's still some hesitation to discuss it clinically. Three, the research is evolving. We've talked about it, right? We don't have decades of data. We don't have a lot of robust clinical research to show one thing or the other just yet. Silence does not help patients. My job is to give you the information you need to make informed decisions with your healthcare provider. And hopefully that's what I'm trying to do here. So what do you do if you're somebody who's listening to this and considering trying cannabis? Look, if you're gonna consider trying it, please go through and talk to a licensed healthcare provider first. Make sure you ask them the questions like we talked about. Make sure your doctor is aware, especially because if you're on other medications, cannabis and the phytocannabinoids can interact with them, such as blood thinners, anti-seizure medicines, and sometimes even sedatives. Now, if you're absolutely gonna try it, start low, go slow. That's the motto for all meds, supplements, everything. Because research shows individual responses can vary quite widely. What works for you or someone else may not work for you. Number three, please be honest with your goals. Some people are just like, hey, I'm hoping cannabis can cure me of everything. I'm tired of meds. Use some evidence, look at the evidence. This is a conversation. If you think it's gonna cure your cancer, like we said, we may need to have a different conversation. Four, use legal and regulated sources. Licensed wellness providers are required to test for contaminants and label the potency, so that matters. Make sure you have a trusted resource and vet the people you're getting it from. And five, just like anything, just monitor your response. See if it helps, right? It's pretty straightforward. You will know pretty fast if it's working or if it's not. Don't just keep doing it because the internet says it should keep working. So look, I'm not here to tell you that cannabis is good or bad. I'm here to tell you what the clinical evidence shows. Sure, I am an advocate for medicinal cannabis, but I advocate for it when it's done properly with a physician or healthcare provider and when it's done as a team. We must communicate together to make sure we're on the same page. Because I do need to know. I want to know if you're taking it. And I hope you'll be comfortable sharing that with your physician or your healthcare provider. Because the truth is, we can't help you if we don't know what you're taking. Like I mentioned, this is strictly for educational purposes. I always speak to your provider before you make these decisions. I hope this was helpful. If you feel it was, please subscribe so I can keep breaking down the research. And that way you have more information at your fingertips. I'm Dr. Neil H. Patel, and I hope this was very informational, and I'll see you for our next video.